Welcome to day 5 and the last day of GPAG 2021 annual conference. Over the last 4 days, we've covered an array of topics addressing the challenges and opportunities for banking and payments industry. For our closing day, we'll focus our discussion on innovation and risk management. Can we create new solutions without creating new risks? We will close our annual conference by bringing you Broadway from the comfort of your home. Professional performers will sing mix of songs from Hamilton, Wicked, and other shows they performed on Broadway. And finally, as we conclude our conference today, George will provide his closing remarks. Enjoy today's topics and our closing musical performances. I now turn it over to Michael Noor, who is the panelist for our next topic.
Hello, thanks, Ashish. Traditional banking providers are sometimes viewed as technology laggards, and fintechs are considered to be the future. In some cases, this might be true, as some of the bigger breakthroughs in banking are powered by fintech or fintech products such as Square, Alipay, PayPal, or Stripe. But not all of these have worked out, as the recent demise of Wirecard in Europe shows. As we can see, it is not just technology, but also strong risk management is needed to balance the speed of innovation with the required control environment. Maybe an important difference between fintechs and us banks is a difference in purpose. Fintechs mainly focus on addressing gaps in existing services or the market, while traditional financial institutions cater to a wider audience and have very strong existing relationships that have been in place for decades in some cases. Retaining trust of its existing customers is paramount, and hence strong focus on risk management is needed. As we'll see in this discussion, banks are not immobilized by risk and compliance considerations, but are investing actively in their own digital transformation initiatives to better position themselves in this new digital era by investing in emerging technologies on the bank as well as on the community level. Let me bring Dan Vogt into the discussion. Dan is Head of Sales, Foreign Exchange Payment Solutions. Dan also drives digital innovation, distributed ledger technologies, and blockchain exploration within Macro CIB. Formerly the COO of Foreign Exchange Payments, Dan has been working at Wells Fargo for 14 years with roles in technology, product management, electronic FX trading, and data analytics in Minneapolis, London, and San Francisco. Dan, can you provide us with a brief summary of the innovations that you're pursuing in the FX team?
Sure. Yeah, thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. Really nice to have everybody here, and welcome to Tesh and Matthew as well. From the FX side, we are digging into lots of opportunities that we have out in the market. One primary one around distributed ledger technology we're calling Project FX Harmony. It's really about creating a shared ledger between another bilateral counterparty, a bank partner of ours, for us to be able to settle 24/7 with them. Now, in today's world, when you do an FX transaction, oftentimes the pricing is based off of that lag. Spot is the most common price, right? A 2 business day settlement. When you have 24/7 settlement, you now are mitigating or limiting entirely that settlement risk by having a atomic settlement relationship within a ledger. So in today's world, if we have a shared ledger of value with another counterparty, we can both see that data at the same time and share that dashboard. There's no, where's my payment? There's no, oh, you haven't paid me yet until I pay you, that kind of thing. So it all happens automatically. It's sort of called an atomic settlement, payment versus payment, as you may hear. So all governed by a central rulebook, and is very much the start of a digital ecosystem. So this type of technology allows you to base further digital assets on that same foundation. So we're just talking about payments today, sending foreign currency to another bank cross-border, instantly 24/7, that can expand into other assets. So it's really, really exciting time because we can start to create new products based on instant settlement. Another piece we're working on heavily is also mobile FX. So our mobile offering, I think everyone understands that the fintech space here, there's a lot of cross-border apps out there, Western Union, TransferWise, Revolut. People have really come and made inroads in the space because they've created great experiences. And really, they're all doing it on top of our bank rails. So there's nothing rocket science related here. It's very much, they've innovated faster, they've created great experiences, and by doing that, you grab customers. So we have what the fintechs crave, and that's a massive customer base already, right? 30+ million online banking customers and mobile users. By tapping into that, we can see that we are averaging about 1.2 million transactions a month that are leaving the bank and going on to these fintech apps. It's over 25 million transactions in the last 3 years. It's a massive amount of activity that's leaving our ecosystem and going into a fintech, like a TransferWise, to be able to send money to a friend or a relative abroad. So what we need to do is really make a splash here and have a better customer experience when it comes time for managing foreign currency balances, holding foreign currencies, and also sending cross-border payments. So we're working a lot with Michelle Moore's digital team to start to think about what that experience could look like. Another major piece we're focused on is alternative payment methods, or APMs, and digital wallets. So if you think about the best way to engage with a customer is via their phone, their mobile, tablet, whatever they may be using. Our corporate customers and wholesale and CIB think the same way. If they want to tap into their customers and they need to pay them more quickly, more efficiently at lower cost, digital wallets and alternative payment methods are key to that. So one quick, easy example is you're on a Delta flight. Delta cancels your flight. You're at the gate. And you're like, listen, I can't get a flight till tomorrow now. I need some money for food, hotel, things like that. They could pay you instantly to your PayPal wallet, for example, and Wells Fargo facilitates that flow. Connects the corporate partner Delta with the PayPal provider of the wallet, and you have a whole new ecosystem that you can tap into. So lots of interesting ideas we're exploring from a wholesale perspective to be able to connect our customers to these new technologies.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. And just picking up on your on Delta examples, it also helps in this case our corporate customer not really to get into the payments business, right? Or worrying about, right? How do they get the payment to basically those customers, or maybe in the past they had to write vouchers, right? So it's an important service, right? That we can now provide.
That's right. I mean, our clients really across all sectors aspire to stronger, more direct relationships with their beneficiaries. So you don't want to have to send a payment to a customer and it takes 2 or 3 hops and then it gets there 3 days later. I sort of equate this to you walk into a Starbucks and for the last 20 years, there's been baristas taking sips of your coffee. And you get to the front and you have 3/4 of a cup and you're like, yeah, this is fine. And for the last 20 years, people have thought that's fine. Now it's, no, I want a full cup of coffee and I want it right now. So that whole ecosystem is changing rapidly, and we have to act to partner with fintechs and other payment providers to be at that front, on the front line with the customers.
Yeah, thanks. I really like that coffee comparison. That's pretty visual. Thank you so much. Yeah, listening to Dan's summary, it seems to me that we're moving a little bit closer, right, to more partnership phase between sort of us banks and fintechs, right? And everybody has sort of their brings key assets to the table. Allow me now to introduce you to Nitesh Anand for the next part of our discussion. Nitesh is Chief Risk Officer and responsible for overseeing frontline risk management in accordance with our risk appetite for treasury management, payment solutions, and digital. Nitesh recently joined us from HSBC, where he spent the last 15 years, most recently as Chief Risk Officer for the bank's global liquidity and cash management business. In this role, he was responsible for driving ownership and accountability for risks and controls and embedding the enterprise risk management framework in the first line of defense. Previously, he held senior leadership positions in various business functions and geographies within HSBC. Nitesh, let me direct the next question to you. How should innovation and risk management align?
Thanks, Michael. When we think about the risks and the risk management framework, we think about the inherent risks of offering a product to our clients, whether that product is developed in-house or we're partnered with a fintech. And the way we do that is we look at across the risk taxonomy. We ensure that the different type of risks that could manifest themselves as a result of that product offering have been considered. We think about the internal control environment within Wells Fargo, and then we think about the controls that we would expect that the fintech or the provider would also have. Some of those controls would be around data and privacy, safeguards for cybersecurity as examples, as well as business continuity plans to ensure that, similar to how we have at Wells Fargo, that the service provider would also have contingency plans in the event of an issue. And when we think about outsourcing or using a third-party provider, we also consider our third-party risk management framework. As part of that, we would be conducting the due diligence, looking at different providers, ensuring that the arrangement that we have with those providers consider the controls that we would expect. We would look at different types of data agreements, confidentiality of that data, exit clauses, etc. And then we would also think about the reliance that we would place on that third party from a control perspective, and having a register of those activities to ensure that we can also monitor the effectiveness of those controls as we would within Wells Fargo.
Yeah, thanks, Nitesh. Do we also encounter sort of the reverse? Obviously, it's a two-way street, right, between us and the fintech, right? The requirements we have on them, but you know, since they're also relying on us, right? Since there's this partnership, right? Do we also see sort of high level of scrutiny, right, that they may be placed on the bank side?
That's a great point, Michael. And I think the brand for the fintechs that are in the space also have a vested interest in ensuring that we're able to provide services to our clients using their platform, and therefore their reliance on our control environment. I think the good thing is that, you know, Wells Fargo and most banking the banking institutions are very well regulated, and therefore from a control perspective and a risk management framework perspective, I think that there's comfort in the fact that we have these controls in place, and we operate we have a defined risk management framework. So I believe that the fintechs would want to have similar line of sight into our control environment, and similarly have a register of activities that they're placing a reliance on our framework for.
Yeah. So they're learning something as well, right? By engaging with us and looking at our requirements, they can turn this around, right? On their providers. Yeah. Okay. Well, it looks like, let me turn back to Dan, right? We seem to be building up momentum, right, on the innovation side. And we heard just from Nitesh how sort of the risk management aspects are so critical. So Dan, maybe you can talk a little bit about how you partnering with the risk organization to ensure that we have sort of an integrated risk process from the beginning of any of our new ventures.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We really start actually all of these initiatives with the innovation R&D team. So Siavash Alamuti, Laura Fontana, Matt Shepard, that crew under Aether. It's key for us because they can help us navigate. We might have an idea and they'll say, oh, we've done research on that. This service is good, that firm is not, right? Whatever it may be, they give us that insight. So we're not starting from ground zero on anything. So through that, we follow the responsible life cycle innovation policy. And through that, we're navigating all of the different requirements that we have with risk and control. Everything, is determined whether it needs to go through the new business initiative or new product committee. It's vetted along all the gates, essentially, with innovation sort of at the hip, right? We don't pretend to think that we can do it alone by any means. So we rely on that team a lot to help us guide our thoughts forward, and also understand the risks with our compliance partners as well. Operational risk and COO are always involved as we sort of start to create these new ecosystems.
Yeah. So do you think that, there's always a concern, I'm sure, also for our audience, right, that are involved with that and starting engagement with fintechs. It takes a little bit, right, to get the right cadence, right, between your innovation need and the risk teams to ensure everything sort of can work at the same pace,
yep.
Right?
That's right. And not all fintech partners are created equal. You might have a fintech that has great technology on the surface, and then you meet with them and they don't have a robust testing environment. So at that point, red flags go off and you're like, well, we're never going to be able to work with you because we are highly regulated. We demand highest quality, right, of technology services. So if you can't ensure to us that you're able to test out our connectivity and our payment flow or whatever we're utilizing them for, it's a non-starter. So there's definitely a certain level of quality that we expect amongst a fintech partner. And if they don't meet that, there's always someone knocking on the door right behind them, because there is a software provider for everything these days. Every niche is generally covered because Silicon Valley has funded that over the last 10 years. So you have lots of options, and that's good for us. We're not pigeonholed into one or two choices. You can RFP almost anything these days and really get what you need.
So that's a good point. So actually, you don't need to be sort of the early adopter for things. You can wait until there are more options available, right? So as you say, they're less pigeonholed. Yeah.
Exactly. I think that there's a balance, right? You don't want to wait too long to where you are passed up, which is kind of what's happened here for most banks, right? Fintechs have evolved and escalated their offerings much faster than we can, to a point, right, to where they don't want to become a bank because then they're in the same regulation land as us. However, they can chip away and eat our lunch as much as they want up until that point. So we have to find a way to keep our own customers, as I mentioned earlier, right? The amount of transactions leaving the bank. We got to find a way to create a better experience. And the fintechs are teaching us how to do that, right? We shouldn't fear them, but we learn from them. That's the idea.
Yeah, no, got it. No, very good point.
Yeah, and Michael, I would just add in terms of that balance between risk and innovation, I think that the good thing or the benefit that we have here is that we have risk experts across different risk domains, whereas it's not one person looking at new business initiatives to kind of provide a risk lens, but we have someone that would have a cybersecurity expertise, someone that would have financial crime, regulatory compliance, et cetera. So when you bring all of those folks together, so it may delay the process a bit, but it does give us a level of comfort that the diligence that we're doing is appropriate, and we have the right lens and the right expertise in those discussions and as part of the overall process.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Good point.
And further to that balance, Michael, we know as a bank it can't take a year of paperwork before we do something. So like that's what I rely on Nitesh and the whole compliance controls team, right, to make sure that's as streamlined and efficient as possible, because a year later that idea might be gone. So it's all about trying to find that balance.
Yeah. But it's also important for us to articulate to our end customers, right, that this long-standing risk experience and due diligence, and as you mentioned, right, the different risk disciplines that in experience we have built up over the years, right, we can now bring to bear, hopefully not to overbear, but bring to bear into this process to say, look, we really looked at this, right? So when we have a combined offering that we showcase to, be it corporate or consumer customers, that can be sort of an important property, right, in a sense of it to make folks comfortable, right, with these solutions. Okay, we talked a little bit about innovations that we drive individual with Fintech Partners, right? But another big topic in the industry is how should we do more with the community, and a lot of definitely on the payment side, and here global payment services, a lot of you on the watching this webinar are in the correspondent banking business, which is a business around partnership of network, right? How we interact and partner with each other, and through sort of our common infrastructures, and one of those is obviously Swift. Sort of beginning with GPI, G-Instant, I think the Swift community has over the last couple of years done a great job to start, right, this sort of joint innovation out there. And now together with Swift, we've as a community embarked on an ambitious multi-year effort to sort of modernize, right, a lot of our infrastructures and move from point-to-point messaging to transaction management, right? Some of you might be aware of this already. But a person that can help us to dive a little bit more into this, and I'd like to bring in now as a third panelist into discussion, is Matt Hobbs. Matt is head of financial crime strategy in the Swift Sanctions program, and he is leading the FCC strategy team and initiative to reduce sanctions frictions in the industry while ensuring compliance standards are maintained. Prior to Swift, Matt has worked for a large global transaction bank, where he ran the transaction screening, filter management, and operations group. Matt, can you summarize a few of the new Swift developments and how the community is partnering to create neutralized solutions in risk management?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Michael. And look, firstly, thank you very much for inviting me. It's a privilege to be here, and it's great to hear from both Dan and Nitesh. Right, so on to the question you asked. Now, my focus, as my role implies, will be around the FCC domain. So I'll be talking to that. So the way I wanted to address it was just firstly to talk about partnership and innovation from an industry perspective, and then move into how we're dealing with that within Swift. Now, from my perspective, it's absolutely imperative that the industry partners and innovates. Now, if I take, for instance, sanction screening today, the landscape is changing continually. So we've got payment volumes are going up year on year, what, 10, 15% year on year. We've got list entries going up year on year with new programs coming on board. We have new transactions that need to be screened. We have a movement into the domestic market, etc. So all this results in is more and more and more alerts. And now, based on my experience, I'm pretty sure that there's, and I'm sure it's the same with Wells Fargo, is there's pretty much a lack or zero appetite to increase the cost base. And that's what's going to happen if you just stand still in today's environment. So it's imperative that you partner and innovate, because you're swimming against the tide with this stuff, right? So some of the examples we've done historically are, we used machine learning in a controlled way. We've partnered with consultancies to embed that within our operation, and making sure that we have a 4-eye process. The first 2 eyes we use the machine learning algorithms. The second 2 eyes is still human. So you still maintain that human element to it, which the regulators like, but nonetheless, it significantly reduces the cost burden. And that's one thing we did. And other things you could look at is the actual the underlying technology. Now, the underlying technology is standardized across the industry. What we did is we actually programmed that technology and customized it to meet our risk appetite, which again reduced the number of alerts that got generated. Now, these are just some instances of some of the innovation partnership you can do, but the industry needs to be thinking about this year on year to tackle it. And I think Dan mentioned it earlier, right? So the fintechs are out there today. There's very few stones that are unturned in terms of what a fintech can do. So it's imperative that organizations reach out and utilize the opportunities from those fintechs to further innovate and reduce the opportunity to increase the cost base. So from my perspective, absolute necessity to innovate. Now, moving on to Swift, you mentioned correctly, Michael, about us moving to sort of a transaction-based model, and that's central to what we're looking at. But what that does is that sort of facilitates or supports the Swift strategy. And in September 2020, after months and months of work with the community, we got the Swift strategy approved. And that Swift strategy was focusing on the delivery of seamless, frictionless, and instant transactions from one account to another anywhere in the world. And historically, we used to be using the messaging process. So we used to send one message to one bank, goes to the next bank, to the next bank, to the next bank, and it could change as it moves through the process. Now, with this transaction model, we'll have one central transaction copy, which all the participants in that transaction chain can access and work from, and it'll be held centrally. And the important point on this as well is it will be immutable to a major degree. Some data elements will be changed. You will be able to change, such as charges, etc. But the core data elements will be immutable. And what that does is that ensures end-to-end integrity of the payment transaction throughout the process. And for me, within an FCC, with my FCC hat on, that is fantastic, because that ensures that I get consistency throughout. So that's the way Swift is moving. And then I'm going to drill down another level, because this is where we started. You mentioned it previously about where we can start to partner with mutualized services. Is in order to deliver Swift's strategy of frictionless transactions, we need to remove friction from the process, or to a more realistic scale, we need to reduce the friction in the process. And the key point of friction is around sanctions. And so what we did is we pulled together 18 GTBs, which included Wells Fargo, and they came together in September 2020, and we discussed what can be done around sanctions friction. Is sanctions friction really an issue in the industry? And unanimously, everybody agreed that it is. And then we agreed to work together to see what can be done on that front. Now, sanctions is fairly unique because it's pretty much non-competitive, so everybody wants to comply with the regulators, bring up the standards in the industry, so everybody's, it's more of a community-based opportunity. But yeah, so we worked in Q4, we identified the pain points, we looked at potential initiatives and work streams, and then we started to execute them in 2021. Now, some of those areas we've looked at are around screening standards and data quality. So how can we take the ISO 20022 screening, the ISO 20022 model, and embed that, and then work out what needs to be screened, what fields should be screened, what fields shouldn't be screened, where's their risk appetite. And we also looked at RFIs, what could be done from that side of things, because that's a major issue from customer satisfaction perspective. And then finally, we need to look at the proof of value around establishing a centralized screening capability. So we're looking to work with the industry to see if that's viable. And so that's something else that we're sort of looking at the moment. And all of these things are moving to plan. So from my perspective, they're all really good examples of where we've brought banks or consultancies or whomever together to drive innovation and standardization to benefit the community.
Right. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, I mean, we're obviously, Wells Fargo is very much so involved with a lot of these initiatives, and especially
Indeed, yeah.
ISO 2022 and the transaction management platform. And you did mention ISO 2022 here as a key driver, and how important sort of better quality data is. A lot of these screening and the RFI processes. Are there specific areas what the industry, I mean, there's certain things you do centrally, right, from an infrastructure perspective, but are there certain things that the industry should really focus on to really benefit more from better data?
Yeah, there is. I mean, ISO 2002 is an interesting one. We are looking to establish ISO 2022 as a framework. So if we can establish that successfully, it will bring a huge amount of value to the industry. Both from, if again looking at financial crime perspective, but if we don't look at financial crime, the focus of a lot of people's focus will be ensuring we get more straight-through processing, become more effective, and reduce inefficiencies from that perspective. Selfishly, I'm looking at it from an FCC perspective. So there's huge benefits to be seen there in terms of efficiency and effectiveness. So, for instance, if we can pinpoint certain fields and know what the content of those fields is going to be, it now allows us to do more effective screening. It also allows us to reduce the false positive rates that get generated, so thereby reducing the cost burden on operations, etc. And it also allows us to implement better quality machine learning and AI, because if we know where the structure of the message is clear, that allows the machine learning algorithms to learn more effectively and to be more effective. So that all of that will lead to a real benefit to the community. But there's a big but here. That is heavily dependent on the fact that the quality of data within those fields is right. So we can create the framework, but what we can't do is ensure that the data within that framework is correct, right, and is of good quality. So, for instance, if you start putting country names into a person names field, we could come unstuck. So that's critical, and Swift is using a data quality tool to support the customers from that perspective and ensure that happens. And also the other challenge we've got is that we do not know, we have no visibility on the amount of volume that we're going to get through initially, on the data quality associated with those messages initially. So it's going to be a bit of a journey to understand where we are, but I have absolutely no doubt that in the longer term, this is going to be fantastic, but there might be a few bumps initially as everybody gets to understand how it works and build their operations accordingly.
Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Yeah, good point, right? So we got to build sort of this virtuous process, because initially, as you say, we don't know what's going to happen, right? I mean, but exactly. With better monitoring tools, you'll be able to tell everybody, right, us banks, where the problems are, and then some of these things, then we need to push back out to the channels, right? As you just talked earlier about, mobile efforts and so forth, right? We might discover something in the interbank space that would require, right, a change in some of the channels, right, that we support today, and that's got to be an ongoing process, right, in order to deliver good user experience, right, from a speed perspective. There's certain things we can do, right, and others we gotta, obviously involve, right, our customers, right, and on that end to make these things happen. Yeah. Maybe a question to the group, right? And sort of definitely moving faster payments, big topic out there, right? What are some of the other maybe from a risk perspective, what are some of the other things we need to watch out for as we move more into sort of faster payments and want to speed up, right, the speed of the time of settlement?
Yeah, Nitesh, you want to start with that?
Sure. I think, it goes back to ensuring that as we look at the process itself, that the steps that are required as part of, as Matt was talking about, sanction screening, and ensuring that it can be done at a speed that our clients expect as well as the industry is moving towards. So it's important that we not lose sight of the control environment or the controls that are required to get to a faster payments, but that whether the screening is done in the beginning or at the end, and that when we're looking at correspondent banks, are we all working towards the same standards and having similar control environments and understanding each other's control environments, and whether there's a reliance on each other's network to ensure that there's not a specific blockage to help move towards the faster payments environment.
Yep, and I think that there's, in my view, there's sort of two economies emerging here. There's the SWIFT messaging base that is always going to be around. You have 11,000 financial institutions. Maybe 10,500 of those are going to still be on that in 25 years. But there will be 500 others that move into this digital economy and are actually exchanging value on Ledger and are moving funds between each other without any delays, without any hops. No one's drinking each other's coffee, right? Back to my initial analogy. That reduces friction, right? How do you reduce friction? You reduce participants. Like how many times investigations have to fill, let me find out where your payment is, let me send a message here and see if that second correspondent bank still has it. Like that economy, as we've seen in the industry now with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, that whole thing is being blown up right now of we need to be able to directly pay someone. And if I don't have the money, that means you have it, right? There is no, I'm not sure where it is. There's no need to track it. So that's the sort of the, call it the carpool lane, right? Or just a disparate lane of payment innovation that's happening, is that it's not messaging based across a network that then connects into all of our system of records. We all are still having copies of the same transactions in that mode. In the future of technology that we're seeing now over the last, I mean, Bitcoin paper is 12 years old now, but it's not a fad, right? It's there, it's out there. So I think it will be interesting to see. And again, I don't think SWIFT is going anywhere, but there is a portion of the economy here that's going to move in this direction, and they will have to still connect to SWIFT to connect to the other 10,500 institutions. But there will be this extra piece of technology that people will adopt faster. It's going to be major banks, of course, and people that can afford it, of course. But that will be an interesting to see that development over the years here.
Yeah, a good point. And as I said, customer expectations have also changing quicker, right? In this space, less tolerance.
Yeah, absolutely.
The delays, the exceptions. The bar has been raised, right, through the fintechs to say, look, it seems to be working somewhere else. So please, right, figure it out, right? Yeah. Now, obviously, one area that got to sort of, I don't know, wrong word, but catch up with it is a little bit the regulation, right, in this space as well, as we're trying to modify, change, right? I mean, another question I would like to throw out to the group is, and in some markets as it has happened, right, the regulatory sandbox environments have been created to allow, well, newcomers, but sometimes also existing players, right, to try out new processes without sort of fear of immediate regulatory retribution there, right? And so would this be something here, right, for our sort of community to look at? As we're so rapidly changing, right? There needs to be this open dialogue with regulators. Sort of, how can we get them sort of engaged in this, and right, and maybe on the data side, right? So not sure if you guys have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can start. I think one piece there is back to this sort of mutualized infrastructure. If in the future we're all using really in some ways the same system of record, right? We're transferring value on the same view, the same shared database. You grant regulators access to that via APIs. Now they don't have to go and ask banks for all their own reports, right? Please send us data, send us Excel files of reports of transactions. You just say, here's the API to our network, go ahead and get whatever you need. They could see everything, right? It's like a traffic cop at that point. So I think that is the future of regulation, and that they are tapping into the major networks that are funneling all this flow through, and they can get whatever they need whenever they want it. They don't even have to ask for it. So I think that's a key thing that is among centralized KYC, right? These are very pie in the sky ideas, but it will happen.
Yeah, and something we need to, also would require changes, right? How regulators interact with us, right? It's sort of one-on-one now, right? And now, if let's say if there's standardized data centrally available, it's really, they would need to change their way how they interact, right? It allows speed, but they gotta catch up there as well, right? With their own.
They'll have to change, but they'll have so much more leverage, right? If they can reach everyone in one spot, that's really powerful. So they'll get there.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I think we've come to the end of our discussion. Just want to reach back out to Nitesh and Matt to make any final comments.
Thanks, Michael, again for the invitation to join. I do appreciate it. It's been a great discussion, and my being new to Wells, it was great to meet Dan as well as part of this. So I think the point around the sandbox environment, I think we do have to start thinking about also when in that type of environment where some of that information is not in the U.S. So which regulators would have access to it? Would it only be the U.S. regulators, et cetera? So certainly the component of working with the international community, as we're talking about cross-border payments and correspondent banking, is also an important component of that sandbox environment. Would be the only other point I'd add to that last point from Dan.
Yeah, thanks, Nitesh. Yeah, from my perspective, this has been a fantastic discussion. One of the key points that I would mention is the fact that we're looking at what fintechs can do. Swift is looking to engage with fintechs more readily. We're creating an open platform to enable APIs and fintechs to engage with us and innovate with us from through the use of APIs, etc. So, as Dan's mentioned repeatedly, the need to work with partners and innovate is an absolute necessity. And from our perspective, from Swift's perspective, that's something we're working towards too.
Yeah. Well, thanks again to and Nitesh for all their contributions. I think it was a great discussion. Hopefully our audience was able to see that really the rise of the fintech challenge, as we sometimes heard it, has really also re-energized, right? The innovation agenda that banks seek to drive, and that we're really, taking this sort of, serious, looking for new opportunities, and that we really think, right, we can have some new vibrant offerings, right, in today's digital economy. So it's exciting. More we'll have probably in the future in GPAG on these topics, and would like to thank the audience for their attention, and now turn it back to Ashish and George.
Greetings and welcome to our closing virtual Broadway performance program. Professional performers Ashley De La Rosa and Ryan Vasquez sing a mix of songs from Hamilton, Wicked, and other shows they performed on Broadway. Sit back and enjoy Broadway from the comfort of your home. Thank you for joining. Let me now turn it over to Ashley and Ryan for their performance. Enjoy.
Hi everyone, welcome to GPAG 2021. My name is Ryan Vasquez.
And I'm Ashley De La Rosa.
And we're actors from the Broadway community. Thank you so much to Wells Fargo for having us. We're really excited to be here. We're going to share a few tunes with y'all. We're going to sing together, duets, two people singing in the same space, not over Zoom, right? And so the first song that we're going to sing is something from Hamilton, a show that we have both been a part of.
Yes, prior to the shutdown, I was playing Peggy Schuyler and Mariah Reynolds in Hamilton on the West Coast. And this song is called Say No to This. It's a song that I personally get to sing in the show, and I'm really excited to share it with you all. Hope you enjoy.
And as for the male parts in the show, I have sort of a unique position at Hamilton in that I have played Alexander Hamilton, Aaron Burr, George Washington, James Madison, and Thomas Jefferson in the show. So I'll be handling all of the male roles for this song. So yeah, please enjoy. There's nothing like summer in the city. Someone under stress meets someone looking pretty. There's trouble in the air, you can smell it. And Alexander's by himself. I'll let him tell it. I hadn't slept in a week, I was weak, I was awake. You never seen a bastard orphan more in need of a break. Longing for Angelica, missing my wife. That's when Miss Mariah Reynolds walked into my life. She said,
I know you are a man of honor. I'm so sorry to bother you at home, but I don't know where to go. And I came here all alone.
She said,
my husband's doing me wrong. Beat me, cheat me, mistreat me. Suddenly he's up and gone. I don't have the means to go on.
So I offered her a loan, I offered to walk her home. She said,
you're too kind, sir.
I gave her $30 that I had socked away. She lived a block away. She said,
this one's mine, sir.
Then I said, well, I should head back home. She turned red, she led me to her bed and said,
Hey,
hey. That's when I began to pray, Lord, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this, but my God, she looks so helpless, and her body's saying hell yes. Oh, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this. In my mind, I'm trying to go. Then her mouth is on mine, and I don't say no. No. I could say that was the last time I said that last time. It became a pastime. A month into this endeavor, I've received a letter from a Mr. James Reynolds. Even better, it said, Dear sir, I hope this letter finds you in good health and in a prosperous enough position to put wealth in the pockets of people like me, down on their luck. You see, that was my wife you decided to... Uh-oh, you made the wrong sucker a cuckold. So time to pay the piper for the pants you unbuckled. And hey, if the price is right, if not, I'm telling your wife. I hid the letter, then I raced to a place, screamed, I'll put you in her face. She said,
no, sir.
Half-dressed, apologetic, a mess. She looked pathetic, she cried.
Please don't go, sir.
So was your whole story a setup?
I don't know about any letter.
Stop crying, goddammit, get up.
I didn't know any better.
I am ruined.
Please don't leave me with
I am
them
helpless. How could I do this?
Just give him what he wants and you can have
I don't
me.
want you.
Whatever you
I don't want
if
you.
you pay,
I
you
don't.
can stay.
Lord, show me how to say no to this. I don't know how to say no to this, but the situation's helpless, and her body's saying hell yes. Oh, show me how to say no to this. How can you say no to this? There is nowhere I can go. When her body's on mine, I do not say no. No. Don't say no. Thanks, y'all. As we mentioned before, we have both been in different productions of Hamilton. I toured with the show through the West Coast, starting in San Francisco, in LA, if any of y'all were out there. And then, as happens in these big shows, people sort of trade around as they get moved to different roles in different companies or different shows entirely. And so I moved to the Broadway company, where I started and understudying all those roles that I had mentioned before.
Yeah, and like I said, I was on the West Coast, and my process with Hamilton was really fun, but like a little long. I had been auditioning for Hamilton for 3 years. For the same part, for Peggy and Mariah, before I actually got it. And throughout that time, I went on tour with Rent. I went on tour with Beautiful. I made my Broadway debut in Mean Girls. I then closed Beautiful on Broadway, and then finally got the call to be in Hamilton out on the West Coast. So that was really, really exciting. The process was, we rehearsed in a studio. So if anyone has seen Hamilton, there's this set with the stairs, and there's this turntable, and there's a lot involved. And I was like, oh, well, I'm gonna, get to rehearse like with
on the turntable.
on the turntable or something. And I knew from doing other shows, right, that like I'm not gonna get to rehearse on stage. That dream was long gone. Although I would love to, but we literally rehearsed in a studio that had tape on the floor and like markings of like, here's where the stairs would be. And so, sometimes I'm literally standing like in the middle of a pole on the set, and they're like, okay, well, where are you supposed to be standing? I'm like, I'm on the staircase by the 3rd beam. And they're like, no, you're not. You're supposed to be by the 6th beam. And you're just like, okay, this is all make believe. This is all pretend. It's just like the very core foundation of what we do for a living.
Yeah, exactly.
We play pretend for a living and like get to wear costumes. And so that rehearsal process was like really humbling in that way, because it really did feel like I was just like playing make believe and dress up with some friends, and it was really, really fun. And then it becomes what you see on stage.
Yeah. And so I had a slightly different experience where I auditioned for Hamilton, and they were like in a pinch. They were putting together a full company all at the same time to tour through the West Coast. So they had a few more spots to fill. I was literally waiting outside of a studio to do a free gig for a friend, and the casting director came out and sort of saw me and was like, wait, we should bring him in for this. And so I went in and auditioned. It was very quick process, like, a couple of days. And literally they were like, okay, you have to come and see the show. We have to make sure that, you really know what's going on stage before you go in for Lynn and for, the director and everybody. And I was like, I can't. I'm in this show called Waitress on Broadway. It has the exact same schedule. I can't. They're like, no, you really need to come and see the show. I'm like, yeah, I know, but I can't. I'm in this show called Waitress. They're like, you really need to come and see the show. And I was like, I've developed a cold. So I called in sick to work. I went and saw Hamilton. I stood in the back. I lost my mind and went in the next day with, the knowledge of having seen it all, and got the call like truly the next day. And so we all went in and we all started as a group. But normally when you get put into a show as like during the run, you rehearse alone. And they literally put you on stage the day of your first performance for the first time with other people. And they say, you know how we told you that Sterling's going to run in front of you and Betsy's going to be behind you?
You don't know anyone's name.
No, and everyone's in costumes and wigs.
Yeah, they're like, Morgan's coming here and doing this and doing that. And you're like, okay, that's the actor's name, not the character's name.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're just, you don't even know the actors at that point, because you get into a show and you're immediately like sequestered and rehearsing while they're at the theater doing their show.
Yeah, so it's definitely a different process to like put it all together as a group. So I'm really grateful that I learned Hamilton in that way, because I don't know if I would have been able to otherwise. But the same thing, like taped out room, we at least had a turntable because they, spent the money. But so we were able to, sort of like come together as a community, and that's really cool. But then when I moved to Broadway, you're sort of like plugged in like a Lego, right? So yeah, odd job that we have. But we're going to do another song.
Yeah, this next song actually, it's funny because as an actor, you get to audition for a bunch of different shows, and you get one of them, you know. And this is a show that at the beginning of the pandemic, I was doing like Zoom auditions for, which is a thing that now we all are have to do from our homes, and it was a really fun process. And through that, I fell in love with the show and fell in love with the music. It's called Six the Musical. It's about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. It was actually supposed to premiere the day of the Broadway shutdown. So unfortunately that, they didn't get to do that, but they have announced that they're going to be back on Broadway, and I'm really, really excited. This song is called I Don't Need Your Love, and I hope you enjoy it.
You know I love you, boy, in every single way. Though I love you, boy, I'll miss you every day. Oh, I love you, boy. I wish that I could stay with you and keep the life I made with you. And even though this feels so right, I'm holding back the tears tonight. It's true, I'll never be over you, 'cause I have built a future in my mind with you. And now my hope is gone, there's nothing left for me to do. You know it isn't true, but I must say to you that I don't need your love. No, no, I don't need your love. No, no, it'll never be better than it was. No, no, but I don't need your love. No, no, I've got no choice. With the king I stay alive, never had a choice. Been a wife twice before just to survive. I don't have a choice. If Henry says it's you, then it's you. No matter how I feel, it's what I have to do. But if somehow I had that choice, no holding back, I'd raise my voice. I'd say, Henry, yeah, it's true, I'll never belong to you, 'cause I am not your toy to enjoy till there's something new. As if I'm gonna give up my boy, my worth, my dreams to marry you. Darling, get a clue, there's nothing you can do. I don't need your love, no, 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 I don't need your love, no, no, there's nothing left to discuss, no, no, I don't need your love, no, no. But I can't say that. Not to the king. So this is goodbye. Oh, my love, Catherine. So I sent that letter to my love, got married to the king, became the one who survived. I've told you about my life, the final wife. But why should that story be the one I have to sing about just to win? I'm out. That's not my story. There's so much more. Remember that I was a writer. I wrote books and songs and meditations, fought for female education so all my women could independently study scripture. I even got a woman to paint my picture. Why can't I tell that story? 'Cause in his story, I'm fixed as one of 6, and without him, I disappear. No, no.
This next song we're going to sing is a duet. It's from the musical Waitress. The music was written by Sarah Bareilles, the pop star, and I had the pleasure of being in the original Broadway company of this show. We opened in 2016. It was before I had done Hamilton, and Ashley actually saw the production of Waitress that I was in early on in the run.
Yes. Waitress is one of my favorite shows. I've seen it about 3 or 4 times, and the very first time I saw Waitress, so I didn't know Ryan. I was in college, and I was taking my best friend Maddie out for her birthday, and he was in the ensemble, and it was just like 3 girls, so we were just like, oh my gosh, who's that guy? He's so good, and also he's so cute. But fast forward years later, and we get to sing a song from Waitress together.
Yeah, so this song is called It Only Takes a Taste. They sort of meet the main character, Jenna Hunterson, a waitress, and her gynecologist, Dr. Palmer, meet by chance at a bus stop, and they're sort of getting to know each other, so please enjoy. Of a girl I once knew. God, by now she's well in middle age, probably 41 or 42.
Thank you.
What? Oh my God, no. She was a waitress at a shop I used to frequent quite a lot. Nice teeth and small hands and snuck me goodies I couldn't afford then. She was sweet to me, reminds me of you.
Oh, well, nobody ever really noticed that way, so.
Well, somebody had to, right?
What?
Because you have a baby. She baked the pies fresh every day, like yours, I guess. But I must say, if pies were books, yours would be Shakespeare's letters. You remind me of her, but better. It only takes a taste when it's something special. It only takes a taste when you know it's good. Sometimes one bite is more than enough to know you want more of the thing you just got a taste of.
That reminds me of a thing we would say, me and my mama in the kitchen when we'd bake. She'd say, Jenna, you can tell the whole story.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I swear that as those flavors mixed and melted, you could hear the sirens sing. It was truly something special, one taste, and I want that whole thing. I must say, it felt like I was carried away, intoxicated, made me escape the room I was in. I can't help but wonder how your hands must have felt, creating such a masterful thing.
Just one bite caused all that.
It only takes a taste. It only takes a taste when you know it's good. Sometimes one bite is more than enough to know you want more of the thing you just got a taste of. As I had mentioned before, I have the unique experience of having played many roles in Hamilton. Hamilton, Burr, Washington, Jefferson, and Madison. And so this is a song from Hamilton sung by the character that I went on for first. It was in San Francisco. It was sort of like an emergency situation. The guy who was playing Burr had fallen ill, like a freak, just 24-hour bug thing. And so he was out, and as is normal in these sort of circumstances early on in the run, there were no costumes. like nothing, right? So they grab me, they bring me downstairs the night before. They said, the actor playing Burr is pretty sick. You may have to go on tomorrow. So we're going to have one big long 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. rehearsal the next day before you go on for this role. I went and sort of like learned as fast as I could, learned everything that I could because I was in the ensemble of Hamilton at the time, and they had different fittings for me and everything where they were putting me in these sort of random coats and clothes just to make a costume that all fit. I had pins, with the vest in the back and everything. It was very precarious, but went through this entire process from 10 to 6 that day, and that evening, of course, like Superman, the guy who was playing Burr said, no, I'm actually good to go. So he ended up going on, but weeks later I did end up going on finally for Aaron Burr, and it ended up being like one of the favorite roles that I've ever played in my life. So this song is called Wait For It, aptly titled, I think. Theodosia writes me a letter every day, keeping her bed warm while her husband is away. He's on the British side in Georgia. He's trying to keep the colonies in line. Well, he can keep all of Georgia. Theodosia, she's mine. Love doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep loving anyway. We laugh and we cry, we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason, I'm by her side, and so many have tried, then I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. My grandfather was a fire and brimstone preacher, but there are things that the homilies and hymns won't teach you. My mother was a genius, my father commanded respect. When they died, they left no instructions, just a legacy to protect. Death doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes, and we keep living anyway. We rise and we fall and we break and we make our mistakes. And if there's a reason I'm still alive and everyone who loves me has died, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it. I am the one thing in life I can control. I am inimitable, I am an original. I'm not falling behind or running late. I'm not standing still, I am lying in wait. Hamilton faces an endless uphill climb. He has something to prove, he has nothing to lose. Hamilton's pace is relentless, he wastes no time. What is it like in his shoes? Hamilton doesn't hesitate, he exhibits no restraint. He takes and he takes and he takes, and he keeps winning anyway. Changes the game, plays and he raises the stakes. And if there's a reason he seems to thrive when so few survive, then God damn it, I'm willing to wait for it. I'm willing to wait for it. Life doesn't discriminate between the sinners and the saints. It takes and it takes and it takes. We rise and we fall, and if there's a reason I'm still alive when so many have died, then I'm willing to wait for it. Wait for it. All right, we're going to leave you with one more song, another duet. But Broadway is reopening. The rumors are true, and we're very excited, of course, and feeling a little nervous because it has been a long, long time since some of us have stepped into these literal shoes and on the turntable at Hamilton and elsewhere, right? Ashley's actually going back to Hamilton.
Yes, I'm going back, and I'm really excited. I was only with Hamilton for about 3 months, so I really don't remember the show. But even when, even as an actor, you do a show every single night, and there are still plenty of moments where you forget or you make a mistake. So I just want to share a little mishap with you. It actually didn't happen in Hamilton.
People always ask.
Yeah,
so.
they always ask for that. It didn't happen in Hamilton, but it was when I was with Beautiful, the Carole King musical. I toured with them, and I played a bunch of different roles. I covered the entire female ensemble, and one of the roles that I went on for, I wasn't fully, I wasn't fully prepared with what I was doing. I wasn't fully confident. So there's this number called "Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?" and this curtain comes down and it's really beautiful. The Shirelles are just doo-wopping. It's very dream-like, and we're supposed to be smooth and sexy. And I went and I thought I was in the right spot, and then the curtain came down right before me, or right in front of me, and I was the only one that was stuck behind the curtain. I'm scratching my way out like a cat, trying to get out of a paper bag, and the entire audience is just cracking up. That it was so bad that the soloist at the very front of the stage, 'cause she can't turn around and see what's going on behind her, she thought, she was did my costume fall off? Am I exposed? What's going on? And it was so embarrassing, but I was never in the wrong spot again.
I would love to share a mishap, but unfortunately, I have only ever done the exact correct thing on stage for the thousands of performances on Broadway. No. So actually, it sort of fits with the song we're going to share, right? I made my Broadway debut in the show Wicked at the ripe age of 22. I was very new to New York. I just graduated from college, and I was also understudying the role of Fiyero. So as somebody of my generation, right, I grew up listening to Wicked, the album and everything. I was very excited to be in Wicked on Broadway. And I put a lot of pressure on myself, right? Like we do. And so during this number I was on for Fiyero, this number called Dancing Through Life, where suave Fiyero is sort of turning people around and it's kind of blowing their minds with this idea that you can just kind of skate through and be too cool for school. And there's a moment where he literally jumps and does a 360 in the air. And so he's supposed to land, put out his arm for Glinda the Good Witch, right? And she's like, oh, wow, so dreamy, Fiyero. And I jumped in the air. I did this turn. I'm really feeling myself. This is maybe the second or third time I went on. I looked down to kind of see where my feet are going to land. And I'm like, why am I parallel to the ground? And basically just hit the ground, boom, on my back, kind of popped up as fast as I could, put my arm out, I'm shaking. And I can hear this laughing all around. And I'm like, oh, this is so embarrassing. And then I kind of get my orientation and I realize that the laughing is coming from the cast on stage, not from the audience. And it sort of is it's nice because it really allowed me to just realize it's not that deep, people are the audience is gonna sort of go with whatever you put up there. And so just being able to know okay, just kind of take your deep breath and step into your power a little bit. So yeah, I'll never forget it. And it allowed me to fall many more times and not be so self-conscious. But truly, right, we're reopening the Broadway, community is sort of opening its eyes again, right, from this long sleep that we have all been in. And we're excited, and I think it's because not only our work is coming back, but we're especially excited about the fact that we have an opportunity, this once-in-a-generation opportunity that many folks have had in their corners of the world, right, to rebuild an industry that is more equitable, that is safe for everybody. And so we're really excited about that. And we've both been doing a lot of work in the sort of social justice space as it pertains to Broadway. And really proud of that and proud of the world that we're sort of working to build, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, thank you all for being here again. We really appreciate it. This is one of my favorite songs from Wicked or any musical, to be honest. It's called As Long As You're Mine. And again, thank you all. We really appreciate you and appreciate your support of the arts, especially during a vulnerable time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And we're really looking forward to seeing you soon, whether it be on the West Coast, in Hamilton, other shows, whatever, or on Broadway. So thank you again.
Kiss me to fierce closely, hold me too tight. I need help believing you're with me tonight. My wildest dreamings could not foresee lying beside you, with you wanting me. And just for this moment, as long as you're mine, I've lost all resistance and crossed some borderline. And if it turns out it's over too fast, I'll make every last moment last, as long as you're mine.
Maybe I'm brainless, maybe I'm wise, but you've got me seeing through different eyes. Somehow I've fallen under your spell, and somehow I'm feeling it's all that I felt every moment. As long as you're mine, I'll wake up my body and make up for lost time. Say there's no future for us as a pair. And no, I may know I don't care, just for this moment. As long as you're mine, come be how you want to, and see how bright we shine. Borrow the moonlight until it is through. And now I'll be here holding you. As long as you're mine.
We want to thank Wells Fargo for allowing us to perform for you all.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Be sure to come visit us when we're back on Broadway and reopen, and make sure to support your local theater in the meantime. Thank you, and we'll pass it back to you, Ashish.
Thank you, Ashley and Ryan. That was fantastic. I'm sure our GPAG participants enjoyed your performances. With this, I'm signing off from the show and handing it over to George for his closing remarks. Cheers.
Wow. So first of all, thank you for joining us for our off-Broadway performance. It's certainly not California, but it was super. I'd like to just take a moment to thank you for joining us this year, for your participation, for the great questions, and the active invention throughout. This is an important business, and being an inventor is critical. I'd also like to take the opportunity to have some special thanks to those who have guided us through this event, taking care of us when we got things wrong. Starting with Tim Reed, who many of you know, he's been with us for years. Most of you met him in person. And Nele, same thing. Ethan Cox, who has been with us for a few years and has been helping guide us in our new virtual world. Dana Chan and Melissa Gorman. Also, Erica Newowner, Vida Toromina Ortega on marketing. And finally, Jade Reno, Kent McKenzie Bailey, and Zach Heldick, who have made me look a lot better than I really look. So thank you very much to everybody. I hope you have a great year.